can't believe that you were like, hello. And I'm like, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, you want to talk to me. Sorry.
Welcome everybody to pregame, a little bit of an extended pregame for Sword Coast Chronicles. I am DM Galabond, and I am being joined in the Roll20 and on the Discord by the players as we speak. It's the holidays. I know we have one player that's not going to be able to make it tonight. Ivy let me know that she's not going to be able to play this evening. I think James said something about possibly being a little bit late. Otherwise, I'm expecting everybody else. And it looks like currently we have Heather and Michael and Paul. So we're waiting on Ken and James. So while we're waiting for those guys, how's everybody's holiday season been so far?
So much food.
Right? Lots of food.
Yeah.
It was 90% cook, eat, drink, food coma. Cook, eat, drink, food coma. And just continually repeating that cycle for about 7 days, and now finally through it, and I feel like I'm a blimp. But zero complaints, the best time of year.
That's why you have New Year's resolutions.
You know,
I ignore them, right?
Exactly.
I managed this year, during the year, to lose a little bit of weight. When I say a little bit of weight, like maybe a total of 10 pounds. So it's not anything drastic.
That's good.
And the way I did it is I found in May, about in April or May, I found an app that talks about, that puts you on a schedule for intermittent fasting. And what that did, I was following what it said, and as I followed it to the letter, I didn't feel like I was getting a whole lot of results. But the thing I noticed with that is I realized that I can function perfectly well on eating 2 meals a day instead of 3 meals a day.
Mm-hmm.
And between dinner in the night and the time I eat breakfast in the morning, if I push dinner a little bit earlier, push breakfast a little bit later, I can get 14, 16 hours between those meals. And that kind of just letting your body sort of go into a little bit of that, the beginning stages of ketosis and whatnot, it just kind of helps you burn a little bit more fat. And so probably 4 or 5 days a week, I wind up eating 2 meals a day instead of 3. And then I always try to make sure that one of those meals is very, very healthy in terms of, a lot of good fiber, vegetables, whole raw foods, things of that nature, and not a whole lot of processed stuff. And that just has kind of, my weight's just sort of trended down a little bit.
That's good.
Over the course of the year.
I know all about that intermittent fasting. It is a game changer.
Yeah, it's like the app I was trying to follow wasn't having any kind of blammo effects for me, but in the long run, it did really seem to do some good. All right, well, we are going to go ahead and turn down the music and get into another little bit of a soundscape here, where we are going to just go into the sounds of a civilized area by evening, and we're going to say welcome everybody to session 75 of the Sword Coast Chronicles. This is a session I am entitling A Meeting in Maelstrom. Last time we were in this here game a couple of weeks ago, the PCs were on board the Morkoth, a very distinctive squid-shaped ship that was being captained by one Thul's Daggerdark, and was carrying a captive, the King Hekaton, the Storm Giant King. And they fought a battle along with several giant allies to defeat the crew and free the king. And the battle really kind of seemed like it was going to be a one-sided affair in the favor of the PCs until the giant tentacles came up from out of the ocean and began crushing the ship. And that made things a little bit more dicey until one Captain Charisma, Falisher the Bard, just kind of looked at one of the tentacles and telepathically said, "Hey, pipe down there, big guy."
Shoo!
And
Shoo!
his what was it? It was Charm Monster. Was that
Monster, indeed.
Yeah, Charm Monster was the when he did the monster just said, "Oh, okay." And
right.
sort of quit attacking.
Shockingly, this giant kraken who thinks himself a demigod has just said, "You know what? This guy's got a point."
He's got a point. Yes. Which, this is the hubris of people who would claim themselves deities. The more powerful you believe you are, the more invincible you believe you are, the more you are likely to be felled low by a mere mortal that has a really good charisma score and hits a nat 20.
That's true.
And I don't even know if he had to roll a nat 20 on that. It's just he just totally beat the monster totally failed the saving throw.
It was a wonderful bit of teamwork with the the chronology thing, re-rolling the die, making it a 1 on his save. Because he passed his save originally, and then chrono shift, failed to save.
Yep. Yeah, well, I tell you what, this is why D&D is a team sport. Very oftentimes, it takes.
That's what we're supposed to be. How we're supposed to be playing this as a team sport. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, tax you to the team, but don't worry, he'll be inaugurated soon. Don't worry.
I'm giving you crap.
All right. When the fight was over, and King Hekaton came to consciousness, his first instinct was to attack anything smaller than another giant. But some of his fellow storm giants bade him, not attack you guys or your ally. The new ally. And that reminds me, I need to go to another screen over here. I need to copy your new ally. And I need to bring him to this screen because, Des,
Yes.
had received an urgent summons back to his people, and he had to return. And on board the ship, there was a Shanghaied half-orc. A half-orc who... a half-orc who was... who had been sorely mistreated, taken away from his job in the city of what did we say it was? It was Luskin.
Yes.
Taken away from Luskin when the ship sailed, and was being held captive aboard the Morkoth as part of the crew. And after the fight was over, it was clear during the fight he was on the side of the PCs. When the fight was over, he joined up with them. They rooted around through the hold of the ship, got what little bit of treasure, which wasn't a whole lot of treasure on board this ship, and due to the damage that it suffered from the tentacles, the ship is slowly sinking. And of course, it's 100 miles away from any kind of land, so there's no way the ship is going to make it there. And I believe at the very end of the session, you all used the Helm of Teleportation and returned to Maelstrom.
I think we used the conch, didn't we?
Oh, that's right. You used the conch and went to Maelstrom at the invitation of King Hekaton.
Yep.
So, anything else that I missed there? Anything that we should? Okay.
No, I think that sums it up all good.
All right. Well, what we are going to do is we are going to quickly move over here to the... Actually, not this map. I'm going to go straight to this map because we're going to be there pretty soon anyway. All right. Oh, whoops. I still have you on the wrong map. Okay, now I've got you guys on the right map. Let's put you over here.
Right.
Okay. So, you all arrived in Maelstrom, were greeted by some of King Hekaton's Storm Giant guards, and were led with all of the dignity due to ambassadors, if you will, to the hall of the Storm Giant King. And when you arrive at the main hall, you see before you King Hekaton seated on the Wormskull throne, where previously you had only seen his daughter sit. At his right hand is his daughter, the Crown Princess Sarissa. At his left hand is his brother-in-law. Or no, is his brother, Imperator Uthor. And they are being attended by several of their Storm Giant guards, not pictured here, as well as the lords of some of the other giants that assisted you in the fight. Including among those is Count Thullen. And when you all are admitted to the throne room by Tug and Cog, King Hekaton, he smiles, he stands, and he just sort of waves you in with his fingers. And Count Thullen turns and big grin splits his face. And Princess Sarissa and Imperator Uthor, they look very pleased to see you. And King Hekaton says as you walk in, and they show you places around this big central pool in the middle of the hall. He says, welcome, heroes of the Morkov. It is so good to see you. I must apologize for my initial haste in seeking to attack any small folk I saw. The last I recall before waking up in the hold of that boat was small folk attacking me, claiming they were representatives of the Lord's Alliance. I have since learned from the guards in my hall and from my daughter and my brother. I have since learned more of the story, and that there was treachery in my very hall brewing, treachery that took the life of my dear beloved queen, and that saw me captured. My homecoming has been hailed by some, but when I arrived, my daughter Sarissa and my brother reminded me that there are yet very, very strange and hard times ahead of us.
So right, about the whole trying to squish us into little tiny paste. It's understandable. Yeah, he didn't know we were on your side until we said something. It's just like when you wake up after you've been out drinking quite a lot, right? And you wake up next to someone, you've got no idea who they are, what they're doing in your room, and why they're wearing your clothes. And then you go from there. It's understandable.
And the three storm giants in front of you look a little bit scandalized. But of course, there's somebody translating. Krenraid, do you say that in common or in giant?
In giant.
Okay, you say that in giant, and you hear some guffaws from over here. And you turn and you look and you see the fire giants are looking at each other and laughing, and they've got kind of knowing smiles on their face. Like maybe that's happened to them before. But the storm giant.
Finger guns at this fire giants.
So I can't remember. Did we leave the chains on tack or did we take them off? But
I took them off.
Okay.
I took them off for you.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, the chains are off of you. And, not pictured here, of course, Belle is quietly in the background along with you guys. And King Hekaton looks among your number, and then Sarissa looks among your number, and then she looks at Fallager, and she kind of nods her head towards the half-orc that's near you and says, I don't believe we've met your companion. Would you care to introduce him?
Fallager.
Talk about the orc, right?
Tack.
Cack?
Tack.
Tic-tac-toe attack.
Yeah, tack.
Oh, whoops. Okay. That's why he's asking, because your token is not set up correctly yet.
It doesn't say your name underneath it.
I'm seeing that.
It does to
There we
me.
go. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Well,
So
this here is Caratacus or something like that. People call him Tack. And he was shanghaied on the boat. Yeah. I rescued him. Now he's with us.
and Tack gives this big like grin, like, yes, you rescued me. I appreciate that. I think this calls for a drink.
And I look over at Tack.
Couldn't agree more.
Krenraid. It's not the right moment.
It kind of feels like it's the exact right moment to celebrate.
Tack's just grinning and shaking his head like, yeah. it's
just wait.
And Princess Sarissa looks at Caratacus and says, "You were a prisoner on that boat, along with my father.
Is she speaking in common or giant?
She's speaking in common.
Okay, good. Okay.
You were a prisoner on the boat, along with my father. So you know something of their voyage."
Oh, yeah. They shanghaied me at the last port, and let's just say that I didn't have much of a choice. So I kept an eye on your father to make sure that they weren't being untoward or harmful to him while he was in such sleep. And, well, let's just say that things worked out for the best. And now I'm here with you. And he, about this time, pulls out his black, piece of fabric, lays it on the floor, and then plunges his hand into the hole and rattles around a little bit, and then pulls out, a handful of paper and maps and stuff, and then reaches around inside and grabs out the other, and then basically holds it out and I also kind of cleaned out the captain's room. Yeah.
Right.
His room.
That's why we didn't find nothing in there.
And so then he just kind of holds it up to one of the giants, here, take this. So there should be hopefully logs, maps, whatever. Pretty much if it wasn't bolted to the floor, I took it.
They say, she smiles and she indicates one of the storm giant guards who walks forward and then sort of goes down on one knee and reaches out a hand just to let you place it into their hand. And then once you place them,
big guy. Oh, we'll have to have a drink later.
And he just sort of gives you a little nod, a nod, kind of like maybe he doesn't understand what you're saying, but he just sort of gives you a little bit of a
And
smile.
then that point in time when he sees kind of the blank look, he speaks in giant and goes, I apologize. What I meant to say was you and I should have a drink later. I have some wonderful brew.
And he says, when I am off duty, he gives you a quick nod. And then
yeah.
Then he stands back up and he goes over and he delivers the materials there. Now, Tack, also I believe you had something else or someone else in your...
I thought we pulled him out.
Well, yes, but were you going to take him here, or I forget what you all decided to do with him. Did you decide to bring him here to be questioned, or...
I believe it was bring him with us to be questioned.
So put him back in for the trip here and then bring him out, so...
Yes. So About that point in time, he's like, oh yeah. And so he gets down on his hands and knees and reaches into the hole and pulls out this cultist by the scruff of his neck / coat. Oh, yeah, I found this in the captain's cabin, too.
And
Plops him down.
King Hekaton just stands up and a big meaty finger points out, "No!" And the guy just quivers and falls down, and immediately a little puddle forms between his knees.
Such a coward. Such a coward.
And
he's leaking.
And a storm giant comes up and takes one of his spears, and actually two storm giants come up, and one storm giant takes the flat of his spear and just presses it down on his shoulder. You're not, he's not going anywhere. And the other storm giant takes the point of his spear and just gently puts it into his back. Okay, you move and you're toast, buddy.
And Tat kind of looks at the poor guy and goes, "So I think that means that you need to be on your best behavior, and we'll all get along just fine."
I'm not convinced that's going to happen.
I think he will.
He's just quivering and shaking and everything. And Princess Sarissa, she has a very hard and stern look on her face. And she says, "You were a member of the crew of this Morkoth?" And he, she says that in common, and he says, yes, my lady. She says, "You served willingly on that ship?" Yes, my lady. And then she looks up at the guards and says, "Take him to the dungeons. See that he is fed and cleaned. We will question him later." And Storm Giant just reaches down with two fingers, just sort of pulls him up by the scruff of his neck, not very gently. And the guy's legs kind of, and his arms sort of feebly wobble, and the giant just growls something at him in Giant. Those of you who speak Giant says, "Shut up, or it's gonna go bad for you." And even though the guy presumably doesn't understand Giant, he kind of gets the gist from the tone of the voice, and he just sort of cowers.
There's a universal language when a giant picks you up and says, "Be quiet."
Yeah. And he just sort of whimpers as he's carried out of the hall. And then one of the other storm giants takes a rag, throws it down on the floor where the puddle was, and just sort of with a foot starts wiping it up. And Count Thullen sort of, wrinkles his nose a little bit and looks down at Krenraid and sort of shakes his head, that was not a wise thing for him to do.
No, probably not, but
and so he is
still alive.
Yeah. And as they take him away, the storm giant has a little bit of apparently has a little bit of a bad sense of humor, because as he takes him away, he sort of holds him up in front of the two hill giants and says, "Tug, Cog, if he's bad, he becomes a snack." And they're like, "Oh, good." And
I think he just shat himself.
I don't think that would stop those two.
And they just sort of look hungrily as he's taken up the hall and away. King Hekaton will look back at you all and will say, "Oh, well, I hope that I hope that you can provide some help for another matter. There are two matters, truth be told, that I would ask your assistance in. But the one and the most urgent is the one that is closest to home. My daughter, Sarissa, and my brother, Uthor, tell me that two members of my own family plotted against my wife and myself. But they say that they were betrayed by an outside force.
Oh, yeah, I know that outside force. Very big and scary.
What can you tell me? What do you know of this Imrith? The one who came to us disguised as a storm giant, but apparently all along was a blue dragon, and he sort of spits out that in his mouth, sort of twists around it like he has great distaste saying those words. And he sort of looks around to all of you.
Well, it took a gem of seeing to see her, so
I don't know a thing, to be honest, other than, she's blue. Very big.
And King Hekaton looks over at Thaldor, says, yes, they mentioned that you had some magical means whereby you were able to detect that she was not what she seemed.
yes, and we also gave your daughter a present of a wand of dragon sensing.
And the princess nods her head and says, yes, father, it is true. They had these items, and both mine uncle and myself, we were able to tell that Imrith was a dragon with the items, the Gem of Seeing and the wand. Otherwise, we would not have known. Father, when Lady Imrith first came to us, she was full of concern. You know full well how she befriended mine sisters and tried to befriend myself, and how she talked to them and wormed her way into their hearts. I feared something was amiss, for shortly after she arrived, my sisters grew more distant and colder from me, and they stayed ever more in the company of Lady Imrith, not in the company of myself, or of our mother, or of you, or of my uncle. And as time went on, I sensed more of a coldness growing in my sisters. I put it all down to the fact that they had been passed over for the Wormskull throne, and I hoped that perhaps Lady Imrith could help them. But apparently, it was she who orchestrated, if my brother's counsel, or if my uncle's counsel can be believed, it was she who urged them to plot to have Mother met by those who slew her, and to have you met by those that kidnapped you. How they could be persuaded, I do not know, but I do know that when Lady Imrith tried to be sincere, she was very convincing. And the king sort of scratches his beard, and then he looks over at his brother. He says, Uthor, what have you to say? And Uthor nods and says, the princess speaks true. Lady Imrith was, at first, I think, a balm to your elder sisters after they had been passed over for the throne, but then she became a friend, and with that friendship she twisted them against your seat, your family, against your wife, your heir, and yourself. I do not know how much blame lays with them and how much blame lays with her. And the king, he kind of looks a little frustrated, and then he looks back at you all and says, I am faced with a choice. I was hoping you would have some counsel for me, but I must choose what punishment should be handed out to my daughters. Should they be restored? Should they be exiled? Or should their lives be forfeit?
Oh boy.
Well, if you don't mind me saying so, you may want to make sure that whatever your choice is, you keep them close. As they always say, keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. Because
That's true, you could hit them.
you make an enemy of them, and they get a little pissed off, as the word goes. You don't want them sneaking around and finding a way to backstab you when you least expect it.
And he nods. And he
Either
looks...
that or marry him off.
And a wry grin plays across his features when you say that. He says, that thought had occurred to me. Of course, I would have to be completely certain of the loyalty of any who would take one of them as a bride.
Understandable.
And he says, Count Thullen, I understand that we have you to thank for these small folk being able to be part of the rescue in the first place. And Count Thullen says, Oh, not me directly, my liege. Your Majesty, they were sent to me by someone that I believe that you know. And he looks at you and says, you could probably tell him. Sort of raises his eyebrows meaningfully towards Mulek.
I presume you're speaking of Mordenkainen?
Yeah.
King Hekaton says, By the light, Mordenkainen! You were sent by Mordenkainen?
Yes. He likes to do that. He likes to send us to do things and then not help us when we ask for it. But that's okay. We're learning to deal with that. But yes, he sent us to help you.
Wait, he sent you on my behalf? He sent you to help me?
He did.
And then he peers at you and he says, did he tell you what he wants me to do? He never helps without expecting something in return.
Out of character. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Under Thalor's breath, he's like, what do you mean helps? The man never helps.
And Tack looks very interested because he's heard this name before, but in whispers and legends and all that fun stuff, and he's kind of like, oh, they met someone bigwig.
So out of character, I'm trying to remember was if he had actually told us, or if this was in relation to the bigger problem with the Cult of the Dragon.
This was in relation to the bigger problem. It was like he told you that King Hekaton was important.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he told you what he needed King Hekaton to do.
Yeah.
Probably not, knowing Mordenkainen.
Yeah. He didn't tell us exactly why. He likes to keep his secrets, but there is a much larger problem that we are dealing with, and maybe he felt that you could assist us or help in fighting this particular cult, the Cult of the Dragon.
And as soon as that, because Mulek does not speak giant, does he?
No,
I can relay it.
Okay. Yeah, as soon as that gets translated, there are every storm giant, frost giant, stone giant, fire giant, cloud giant,
giant,
hill giant. They all, their voices all, and they are very, very, they grumble, and it's a grumble of, those meddling dragons. And King Hekaton says, well, then, if that's the case, perhaps you can help me with the second matter. As you may recall, something very important was stolen from my throne room. And he sort of looks at his daughter disapprovingly. And she kind of shrinks back a little bit. And you guys, anybody remember what happened when Imrith fled?
Stole the necklace or the necklace or the staff?
Stole the rod that was on the necklace.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
One of the rods of dwarven kind of, one of the ones that control the fates or whatever they are.
Yes. And he says, I intend to get it back. Will you all assist me in this?
Sure, dude. I got unfinished business with that dragon.
Master Dwarf, be it known, this is the first time I have ever said this to someone of your kind, but I like you. I like the way you think.
Be it known that thank you. That is the first compliment I've got from one of your kind. This is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship.
I nudged Krenraid real quick. I was like, hey, Krenraid, you might want to ask them if they can build Fali's armor.
Yeah, that's a good idea while we're on the topic. I think let's get a group consensus first. I'll be in. I feel like we're in.
I assume that retrieving this Coral Norse scepter will help us with this nasty cult issue.
Oh, well. Imrith, I have done some. My daughter, I should say, has done some reading since you all left, and she has learned a bit more about this Imrith. Imrith is a power-hungry worm, and if this cult of the dragon is doing something, she's liable to try to find out how it can befit her and benefit her. The scepter that she stole, if she were ever to get her hands on this throne, she would be able to use it to move through the very earth itself. And without tunneling or disturbing anything, she could attack any stronghold that she wanted from underneath the ground just simply by raising up in their presence. This would be very bad for giant folk, for small folk, for any civilized peoples anywhere in Faerun. And she would have more power than any mortal dragon has a right to wield. I don't suppose you know what the ultimate aim of this cult of the dragon is.
Nothing.
This
good.
time.
I know what it is.
You do. Please.
Well, I'll just speak bluntly. They want to bring that bitch Tiamat back.
No.
And of course, then when that gets translated, there's just an outcry from all the giants. The walls just reverberate with the volume of their shouts. And these are shouts of anger and cries of never, never. And then they're like, death to Imrith. Death to Imrith, death to Imrith. And some of them are death to Tiamat, death to Tiamat. And, it's like King Hekaton, he kind of looks around and he gives them a few moments to sort of build up their anger, but then he just sort of raises a hand and they all just quiet down very quickly. And he says, well, I imagine that even you folk, knowing as little as you do about the ways of giants and dragons, you probably would realize that if Imrith could make a gift to Tiamat of this throne and that scepter, that would be even worse than Imrith having it, and it would put Imrith very highly in Tiamat's regard. So either I think she intends to try to take this for herself, or she intends to try to make a gift of it to the Dragon Queen. We cannot let that happen.
Palazur just kind of he grips his knuckles so tight, it's like you can hear his knuckles cracking and his hands white. He's like, I swear to you, even if it takes my own life, me and my newfound order, we will find this enemy out and we will crush them in the name of Helm.
Whoa there, Captain C. Yes, we will do our best to crush them.
Newfound order.
Yeah, I was about to say, looking over. Me and Mulek both look at each other and look at Bowser at the same time as I'm talking.
Are we creating another Mordenkainen here?
Right. So,
I think he's talking about his dragon thingy.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody ask?
Krenraid, do you say that? Do you say that aloud?
Oh yeah,
that you think...
I'm kind of whispering, but not very well though. Okay, he's talking about that kind of like dragon rider thing.
Count Thullen looks at you and his eyes go wide, and he kind of gives Krenraid this look like, like, stop talking. And then Imperator Uthor seems to be just watching everything, but he seems to see the look that passes over Count Thullen's face. And then he looks back at Falasher and he says, your new order, you and your companions have taken holy vows to Helm? Is this what I understand?
Well, I have. I can't speak for my friends here. They're welcome to join, but it's a new order, and its entire function is to kick the shit out of the dragon cult. Or any cults thereof.
Oh.
And, I'm calling
good.
it Cowboys from Helm.
Going with that one, there.
Cows?
Cowboys from Helm.
Is it?
And then
Where are
and
the
then
cows?
and then he kind of looks at Sarista with a question like, is this something you young folk, or is this some term you young folk are
No. This
using?
is him. I don't know
And
why. This is him.
He's an entertainer. You just have to go with it.
As my papi always say, nod and smile. Just nod and smile.
I like you already, Tack.
Oh, I'll see how much you can drink, and then I'll tell you how much I like ya.
And then
real quick, I sit there and just out of my cloak, I pull my whiskey bottle out, flash it, and show it back in my cloak.
In a rare moment, you just hear the like absolute sincereness and seriousness in Valasher's voice, and he's like, "I'm not joking."
Didn't say you were. Just don't know what cows are got to do with it.
We will. Imperator Uther just looks at his brother and shrugs, and King Hekaton says, yes, we will discuss that later. First of all, I would like to assure you that the hospitality of Maelstrom is yours. There are the guest rooms that are set aside for you. I believe you stayed here before. If those accommodations do not suit, we can find better accommodations for you. We will have a feast tonight, a feast to celebrate the victory, and you, along with the lords who participated in the rescue, will be guests of honor that all of the people of Maelstrom will get to see. And then we will begin searching for this Imrith, see what we can find. Meanwhile, if any of you have means of contacting Mordenkainen, if that can be done today, that would be wonderful. If not, if you can contact him tomorrow, I would like to find out if he can tell me anything more clearly than he has revealed to you.
Yeah, I can do it. Although I don't much, enjoy speaking with him sometimes, but yeah, I can do it.
And he says, as for my daughters, it seems I must deliberate. It has been too many years that Ammon the All-Father has been silent and has not answered my prayers. I will lift up prayers such as I have never done in my life to the All-Father tonight. Hopefully he will give me some guidance on what is to become of my disobedient daughters.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have any advice for you on that one. That's a toughie.
I look at Mulek. I was like, "Hey, do we still have his wedding ring?
Yes, we do.
We might want to give that back to him."
Yes. I pull it out of the bag of holding. Thanks for reminding me, Thaldor. And
Not a problem.
pull it out of the bag of holding, and I walk up and kind of kneel down, even though it makes me probably farther away from him. But just to show reverence to the king, I kind of kneel and hold up his wedding ring.
And he says, "What is this? How came you by this?" And the princess says, "Father, I gave it to them as a means of seeing if it would help them scry and find you. Please, it was a gift, and they promised to return it when you were returned to us." And he looks down at you for a long moment, Mulek, and he says, "It seems that perhaps my wife was right. She said that small folk in their ways are not that much different from giants. Some can be trusted, some cannot be. I have always believed that your courage and your hearts and your honor matched your size. But I see this day you have risked your lives to save me, have fought alongside those giant lords who are loyal to me, and well, I thank you. Know that you and your friends will receive recompense for what you have done already. A feast.
A lovely feast and some, good laughter and good cheer, and I think we'll be A-okay.
And then I nudged Krenraid again. Armor. Armor.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot. So my friend here, right, with his new order and all the other fancy things that he's going to be doing, very smart guy, this guy, right? You can trust him to do the right thing. He has, requested of me, and I'm a pretty good craftsman, I'm pretty decent at it. He's requested of me to make a piece of armor, right? And myself and Faldor here have been working on the specifications and things like that. And even in my people, I know that the fire giants over there, I'm looking at you guys. Yeah, I know you love that joke. How would you feel about doing a bit of work on some very fancy armor for my good friend Manager over here?
And they say, Your Majesty, this dwarf may be a good smith among his people, but certainly you don't think that dwarves could match the work of fire giants, do you? If you want something done right, you have to give it to the best smiths in the world. And King Hekaton looks over at Krenraid and says, I think you might have some people who want to show you a few things about how to get around a smithy.
Tack kind of perks up and goes, "Oh, I would love to be part of that. I even have my own tools and kit."
Oh well, let's start you with a trial period, yeah, because I don't know you properly. I'm sorry, but we'll hand you the apron and see how you do. But you boys, best smiths in the world, yeah.
Didn't say I was a good smith. Just
Excuse me. I'm trying to talk to the giants a second here.
Mm.
Yeah, you're pretty good. I sensed a challenge in that.
And Tartha looks at you and he says, "Aye, that was a challenge. Oh, what is the work? What do you
Taldor pulls out the plans and looks at Krenraid. Krenraid, you're going to have to translate for me, buddy. I don't know Giant, but are they speaking in common or are you speaking in Giant, Krenraid?
I was speaking in Giant to them.
The fire giants have not spoken common, and any conversations in common, they wait until it gets translated before they respond to anything. So you don't think they understand common.
Got you. So look at Krenraid and go, well, look, we have all the drawings, and I hold them out to Krenraid. Here's all the drawings and dimensions that need to be done for the armor that we measured for Falasher. So here you go, and I hand them all to Krenraid. Don't lose them.
When he does that, I'm going to lean in and whisper, if this works really well, we're going to get 2 sets of armor out of it.
That might be split. Yeah, there you go. All right. Works for me. All right, there you go.
Yeah,
I've got the plans right here. Unfortunately, the materials might be kind of hard to come by, you know. We're a bit strapped for cash, as you would imagine.
Okay. Out of character, you guys have all the materials,
yes.
But you're just telling them this in character.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure that the player was remembering.
I rubbed off on him apparently because now you're trying to spin them out.
I've learned a few things over the past year of adventuring with Faldor.
Yeah, you did.
And
see a tear on Thaldor's cheek.
They look at they sort of kneel down and they look at these plans and they say, "Oh, well, with the materials, this would be relatively easy to accomplish. However, getting those materials, that's very expensive." And they kind of look at each other, and then they say, Our hole does not have that kind of that quantity of mithril. We would need to try to procure it, and we would probably need some help with funds.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It is a very big order. How about this? We pooled our resources, right? And we each do a part of it. And we could have Falasher, who's the intended, recipient of it, and, an impartial person, maybe a good count over there, be the judge of whose work was better. And then you don't have to, spam it out.
Oh. Well, if you can provide the materials, we will be happy to do the work. In fact, we could probably talk 2 of our friends into helping us. And kind of as they start telling you about the pace of the work that they can do, you guys realize that each one of them, every one day they work on something is like 4 days for a humanoid smith.
Wow.
Or a dwarf or a human or somebody like that, or a half orc.
And 4 of his friends? All right.
So if they have a total of 4 fire giants working on that, then they can do 16 man days worth of work every day.
Jesus. It could be done in like a week.
So it could drastically reduce the time. Of course, you guys doing the work, it would still take you months to get the work done. Unless you can get a whole whole month of, or a whole bunch of people
Right.
helping you.
So I look over at Kren and I go,
Where's your house?
So,
and your
Theodore's doing math in his head. He looks over at Krenraid because, Krenraid.
Okay, on my abacus, yeah.
No. Leave your abacus alone. Listen,
Well,
buddy.
I can't count without it, you know.
Well, I know. I've got you.
Okay.
Just hear me out.
Okay.
Look. So I take a platinum and I roll it through my fingers. You see this platinum, right?
Yeah.
So think of it this way. For every one of these, okay, they're doing 10 times that. Well, roughly 4 times that. So what's going to happen is, and I do a little fancy thing where I have one and turn it into 4 in my hand, a little bit of sleight of hand. So I'm like, look, you see how the one became 4? So, and he said he's got, what did he say, right? I mean, what did he say about him and his friends or something? I don't know, Giant.
They think they
said-
could convince 2 of their friends to show up
Okay.
and help out.
So that's that's 16 man hours for every one day they work. So do you understand if we let them build the whole suit of armor that it could be done? And I'm just spitballing here. What would take us months would take them a couple of weeks.
Luckily, I think we could split the work, and I do, a bit of it, and I'm speaking in common. They do a bit of it, right? And maybe we could do it even faster.
No, seriously, I'm doing the math. No, if we split the work, even if you did just one piece, that could still take us months.
I believe, Krenraid, that we talked about out of character. We talked about that it would take 160 man days. So
Krenraid doesn't remember. It's too long ago. So
yeah. So basically, 4 fire giants working on it. They could do it in a 10-day.
Yeah, they could do it. Yeah, in 10 days.
So they would be able to crank that out extremely fast.
And that's what Theodore's trying to put to Krenraid. Let them do it. We can do some detailing work on it. Like we could add some frill to it. You know what I'm saying? That might only take us a day or 2. But for them to do the complete armor set, let them do it. And then we can add details later.
Okay, well, my friend here just made a very good point, all right? The fact is, you guys can work way faster than I can. I think it's because you're so big. Makes sense.
And they look at you and they cross their arms and they nod and they grin. Yes, we can.
So I think, but bygones be bygones. We'll have to do a different spin on this. I've got to make a very fancy looking rod with hold on, let me just get it. Pulls out the pearl with this little pearly thing on it. All right. And I know I could do that in a similar time to how long it would take you boys to make a full plate of armor because you're so big. How about we compete with that instead?
And they say, yes, that is a good challenge. We would like to see what your craftsmanship is like. Perhaps there is something in the fine detail work that we can glean from you, and you can marvel at the speed and precision of our work.
Oh, this is going to be great. We've got a feast. We're going to have a forging session. That guy Tack can come. This is going to be brilliant.
Meanwhile, Tack's kind of sitting over there or standing over there, just kind of anxiously, like moving from foot to foot, like, okay, let's go. Got to get the, want to go.
Yeah. So Tack, you speak Giant, so you can hear all of this being spoken in Giant. And somebody will translate kind of all of this stuff for the rest of you that they're talking about. And that's going to be kind of where we will go ahead and let you all retire to your chambers. And for that, we're going to move over to this slate. And we will allow you to sort of have some discussions. They tell you that it'll be like another hour or so before dinner. And if there's any kind of logistics you guys want to do, if Mulek has the spell slot and is able to reach out to Mordenkainen today. That's fine. Otherwise, it's going to have to be the next day.
Krenraid aside real quick as we're in the room, and I go Ixnay on the dragon A.
The dragon number A or letter A?
Felaga A.
I don't know that guy.
You guys are in your rooms by now, so you don't have to talk in code.
Oh, okay.
Got you.
There's
Felagos.
no giants around.
Right. No, we don't mention Lord Felagos at all. That's why Thullen gave you the weirdest look ever. Don't mention Felagos.
Is Tack in
Don't
there
mention
with you, or do
Felagos,
you
got
guys
it.
all have your own rooms?
No, we're all in the big common room.
It's all in that big common room that you... Yeah, you, Heather, remember that from Des, but...
Barely, but
yes.
okay.
So yeah, other than that, just we don't mention Lord Felagos at all while we're here. Because...
Or the fact that, we've basically started a new dragon alliance.
That too.
I
Because...
think we should leave that to the Count. He's probably much smarter than that than I would be.
Right. Well, no, not harping on you there, but good job coaxing the fire giants into making the armor.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
that was great. As they were translating,
it went really well, didn't it? I was surprised. I thought
I've taught you well with our travels.
I'm proud of you, Krenraid. I'd love for you to do all the the nice design and things like that, you could put into the armor. I think that'd be a nice touch.
I definitely would add my own little bit of pizzazz, my little spiffy spot. They could do it way quicker than I can. It's because their hands are so big. I'm glad we're going to get it done so quickly. Yeah, honestly, I just kind of repeated what Faldor said a few times, and it ended up working out really well. Turns out you just say the right few things, people do stuff for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, if I'm any example, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, like the giant sea beastie that you told to bug off, and it did.
That's going to come back and haunt you someday.
Not if Timora has anything to do with it.
As long as I stay away from the water, I don't care.
So at this point in time, Tack slaps his hands together and rubs them and goes, "So, what's next?"
Food.
And he kind of looks at you guys like he's kind of contemplating something, and then finally he's like, "So you don't mind if I tag along, eh? I can join you."
To be decided, I think. We'll have to. We'll give you.
And about
try
this
you
time,
out.
he kind of goes over and sticks up the silk scarf on the wall and kind of rummages around in there and pulls out a bottle of some of the best bottles under brew, and kind of takes the cap off and takes a whiff and goes, oh, okay, I see how it is. To be determined if I share my stuff with you.
Well, I mean, we were kind
of... And he takes a little swig of it and is like, the best my father has made.
We did lose a member recently, and we do need somebody that can do the laundry and stuff like that, so...
I nudge Fallinger. I'm like, dude, come on. And you never even did your own laundry. I always had it done every inn we went to. I know you're full of it there, sir.
Huh. Laundry, eh?
I
see how my talents are going to be used.
No, Tack. No.
If you can deal with Krenraid's laundry here, you deserve to be in this party.
I would never give my laundry to anyone else. That's not fair. That's a lethal weapon right there.
Oh, you've no idea how bad mine can be.
Oh, God. Nutter just shakes his head. I hope Mulek's having a better time talking to Mordenkainen.
On that note, I would have found a little quiet spot, and I kept sending, and this is what I send.
Okay.
We have rescued the king. He is back at Maelstrom. He wants to know what plans you have next.
Okay. I will send you a response while you all continue talking.
Okay.
Something along the lines of, "Oh, just as I'd planned or foreseen."
Right. We know how that's going to go. Right. I knew you'd do okay. You didn't need my help. Never.
So what was this I heard about someone smelling bad? What do you guys
Krenraid and Pack are going back and forth about who smells worse.
It didn't smell bad, just yeah. It's it's one of those things. You know.
We agreed to bring Tack in on the group as long as he does laundry for a few weeks. See how,
and I told Fallinger right then and there, Mulek, that we've never had anybody do our laundry except when we were in towns and at inns. So I don't know what he has to do with that. Hell, we have finger wagging. Thaumaturgy can clean or prestidigitation can clean our clothes. Jesus.
Yeah, and at that phrase, I'm walking around and I notice if I smell anyone stinking bad or looking messy, and
Hack's pretty much that way. Of course, he's been
I'll cast prestidigitation, clean you up.
I'm about to say, that's
kind of zap at you.
Krenraid bends over like.
About that point in time, Tack kind of lifts up his arm and takes a sniff. Better. Much better.
I look over at Mulek and shake my head and just look, and I'm like, wow.
And about that time, he holds out the bottle of drink that he pulled out of the portable hole. Here, have a swig. Like I said, some of me da's best brew.
Your da?
Yeah.
What is this? I know. Hold on. Who are these people? Oh, God, who are they again?
Under
I know this.
Bottle Sunder.
I know this.
Bottle Sunder's ale and spirits.
Oh, yeah, Bottle Sunder. They have that really fancy tune that the bards sing. Bottle Sunder, it's going to make your guts sunder.
Wow.
Yeah, they are a little bit famous. That's your family?
Oh, yeah. That's me da. And I learned the trade.
I'll be damned.
And I went on to try and learn some other trades, but brewing is in the blood.
Yep, your Yuletide special, right? The one that happens when all the snow starts falling down and there's that weird fat man singing. Oh, so good.
So Thador's just listening to this, and he sits at the table, and he pulls out his whiskey and puts shot glasses in front of everybody.
Oh, we're starting this party early. Screw the feast. Let's get drunk.
And about that point in time, that's when Tack kind of offers a round of the spirits that are in the bottle, and it's like a brandy cordial or something like that they've done. It's kind of a specialty. And say this one will curl your toes and make ugly maidens look lovely as ever.
Oh,
I take a swig. What does it do to me?
I thought you were going to say something else there.
Right.
It's just very, very delicious and very potent.
Is it more potent than my whiskey?
Is it more potent than your whiskey?
Yeah.
Heather, remind me what you can DM me if you want to remind me what it is. It's a
cordial.
Dwarven ale?
Well, Dwarven ale is their specialty, but they also do spirits, which
okay.
Their spirits are cordials and
it's a Dwarven cordial. Your whiskey is a human whiskey?
It's a Dwarven whiskey, I believe. It was a really expensive whiskey, so I imagine probably Dwarven.
Do you know how cordials are made?
I do not.
With whiskey, either whiskey, vodka, or brandy.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway,
what are we toasting to?
Still being alive, success, lots of things really.
Well,
we managed to save the giant king. That was pretty great.
I think we should also raise a glass to our comrade, that left us so early.
Yeah.
We should. I miss him, but he's with his family, so can't say much. And you see Daldor tap his shot glass to the table and shoots the shot.
Ballinger just raises his glass and he says, "Some more future giant successes."
And then just drinking up. I pour me another one real quick. I was like, okay.
While the rest of them are drinking, Mulek, you get a response from Mordenkainen. Splendid! I knew you could do it. Tell King Hekaton that I will inform him tomorrow of the help we need from him.
Splendid.
So Tad kind of looks at you guys and goes, "So you guys really do know Mordenkainen personally?"
Watch out. Don't say his name 3 times. He might show up.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
Galabond, I forgot. Mordenkainen's on a different plane, right?
Yes, he is.
I forgot to. So the spell has a 5% chance of failing.
Go ahead and roll a. No, actually, I will roll
A D100? No?
Yep, and it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I forgot to say that before.
Yeah, it's such a. And I figured when you're out of combat, you can try the spell a couple of times if you need to.
Okay, all right.
For it to work, so I wasn't worried that much about it.
All right, cool.
So,
Tech, it's not just Mordenkainen we know. We know the rest of the boys too. Odaluk, Tensor. I like Odaluk personally. I think he's the best one of them all.
Oh, wow! I'm really traveling here with some people that know those higher ups / famous people.
Speak for yourself, Mr. I'm the inheritor of the Storm Brew fortune.
Oh, well, when Ma and Da couldn't have children, they stumbled across to me and said, "Hey, let's adopt and see what happens." And I'm what happens.
I bet you were an adorable baby and they just saw you and were like, yeah.
He points to his scarred face where basically you can see his teeth through the healed scar and goes, "Probably not, because I got this shortly after I was born. So, yeah."
Battle tested at a young age then. That just sounds like an extra plus
it's
to
like
me.
maybe only a couple of days old. So, yeah. I've just come to learn to live with it. It sometimes can be a detractant, but, the ladies like scars and occasionally, you can use it to gain sympathy.
So, Tack, other than your brewing skills, what else can you do?
Well, Da wanted to make sure that I had a good rounded education and in some of the dwarven crafts, so I do know how to do some basic mind ya, carpentry and some basic blacksmithing. I can make things like horseshoes and iron pieces and stuff like that. I can't do any of the fancy armor stuff yet, but I know the basics. I've got the stuff to do it. Fix me own shit. So, other than that, I'm really good at fighting. I like to fight.
And speaking of fighting, as we get towards the midpoint of our session, it's not long before you all are called for the feast. You are taken to the grand hall. There is a huge feast, and there's probably about 200 storm giants
Holy shit.
that are in this great hall, along with all of the other giant lords that are loyal to, or the giant lords that were with you in the fight with the Morkoth. There's a head table where King Hekaton, his daughter, and his brother are seated. There are also the giant lords, the actual lords themselves, that are seated, and one is a lady among the stone, fire, cloud giants that are up at that head table. The rest of the heroic giants and you are at a table that's only slightly lower than their table is. And then all of the rest of the giants are seated at large tables in the rest of the hall. And so, of course, you guys kind of are up in very awkward-looking chairs from the standpoint of the giants, and chairs that literally they've had to put like sort of makeshift ladders for you to climb up there, because it's like the top of the table is like 12 feet tall. off of the flagstone area, that the raised portion of the step that you are on at one end of the hall. And they make jokes when you all are introduced that, they wish you could stand up taller. And, the storm giants all kind of have a laugh at that, as do the other giants. But, when your deeds are recounted, everybody raises a big mug and cheers just as loudly for you guys as they do for the other giants that helped to rescue the king. So they don't seem to hold that against you. And much feasting, merriment. There's music. There's giant music. They do allow Falasher and Bell to perform a little bit, but Falasher, as good as you and Bell may perform, the giants just seem a little bit bored by it, because it's not giant music. And it just seems a little, it's like, they kind of like, oh, okay, that's kind of quaint. Sort of like you hear a performer from another culture, and okay, maybe that's good, but it's just kind of alien in terms of the musical scale and the way everything is constructed, so you're not quite sure what to make of it. That's kind of the way the giants react. But then as you come back to your quarters to rest for the night, and you begin to settle in, you realize that there has been a lot has happened to you, and you've accomplished a lot. And you feel like now there's maybe more that you're able to do. So when you take your next long rest, at the end of your next long rest, you can now raise your characters to 10th level.
Oh!
Yay!
So we are going to take our break now. When we come back, we'll spend the first part of the next bit of the session making sure everybody is raised to 10th level, making sure nobody has questions about what they're going to take and everything. Maybe we'll go around a little bit and just see what everybody's going to take, and we'll I'll send a message to Ivy that she can raise Bell to 10th level as well, so that next session she'll be able to join us all leveled up. And then we will see what the next part of our story brings. So I am going to put us back on the Friendly Tavern. I'm going to bring up the music. And I will set the timer, put us on our slate. And viewers, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We are going to be back from our break in a few minutes. And I'm going to mute myself. Players, remember you can stay here in this Discord channel and chat on stream, or you can move to the off-stream chat channel if you want to chat away from the ears of the stream. I'll be back in a few minutes.
What do you do with a drunken giant? What do you do with a drunken giant?
I'm half tempted to take a feat instead of leveling up my ability scores.
There are some phenomenal feats, as you well know. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm tempted to do it because I could take linguist and learn 3 more languages, and I could create ciphers.
Ooh.
Would suit the character, that's for sure. His contracts that he makes.
Get another rune.
But also, what it would do is also make my intelligence go up to 18.
That's good.
I get another rune. Yay, yay!
There's so many new feats now. My goodness.
There are tons. Magic and this shit is also on the table now as well.
Well, because I took 1 level in cleric at level 1, I don't. All I get is an upgraded version of Song of Rest.
I'm gonna take another level of fighter, I think, and then stop there. It gives me action surge, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. Extra reaction.
Yes, please.
I'm gonna whack.
Whack-a-doodle. Da 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 da.
Ooh, that one would be really good too, though. Poisoner feet.
I don't know, man. Poison is.
Yeah, but when you have the poisoner feat, it ignores resistance to poison damage. So, like, say
poison still counts as a sneak attack. So
it does, yeah.
Yeah. As long as someone's within 5 feet and the poison damage is ticking, then ta-da!
I think I'll go with linguist, though. I think I'll go with linguist. It just makes sense for Thal'dor because, you know, he learns languages. Then I won't have to sit there and have to have Giant translated for me anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, personally, I always try and pick stuff that's based off the character's experience. Right?
Well, he's been around a bunch of giants.
Yeah, and it does track. It would make a sense pick.
Because I'm not really into, like, my ability scores. They're pretty good. So, yeah, I think I'll go with linguist. Because what's really cool is you have the ability to create written ciphers. Others can't decipher the code you create unless you teach it to them. They succeed on an intelligence check, which is the DC equal to my intelligence score plus my proficiency bonus. So could you imagine having an 18 intelligence plus my proficiency is 3 or 4? So yeah. Or they use magic to decipher it. Good luck.
I was about to say there's a few spells that I think can do that. Illusory Script, can that decipher as well? I don't know. I'm not sure how that one works.
There's so many new languages, my goodness.
So what's happened recently in Krenraid's life? It's mostly been Action heavy. A lot of fighting. A lot of talking.
I get great stature.
Next level, I can pick 5th level spells, I think.
You should be able to pick 5th level now, don't you?
I'm a multi-class rule.
Oh, wait.
So I'm only a 9th level bard instead of 10th, so I don't get magical secrets, which I think is...
Yeah.
It says you get to pick 2 spells from any class at a level you can cast, so... I think it's going to be 5th level for me. Next level, I can pick 2 from any class. That'll be fun.
Because I multi-class too. So I'm only a 9th level wizard, but I get access to 5th level spells.
Yeah, I get access to 2 5th levels.
Yeah.
But I don't get magical secrets when I'm talking about. For next level.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I have to try to decide what to get.
Same. I'm trying to think if Krenraid's recent experiences have been more barbaric or more measured, and then base it off that.
I think it's been more measured.
I get the feeling it's been more measured as well. There was that moment with Yanzi Ben where he just went for the toes and went nuts.
Yeah.
But there was the other 2 moments, like on the Morkov, where he realized what was going on and acted. And the one before when we were fighting against the giants in the keep. It was a while ago now, but that was, during this level up, so I'm counting it. And that was way more measured. It was very tactical. Oh, as tactical as it can be, with instruction from friends.
Yeah. I like his wild side, though.
Yeah, it's always going to be a large part of him. I just like to think in his development, like his change, if possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he definitely is going to grow,
Yeah.
He hasn't stayed the same, if that's one way to look at it.
That's very true. Yeah. So that's definitely going to be a fighter level, 100%.
Love it. Love it. My intelligence now is +4. Yes.
I bet like your skills as well are fucking nuts right now.
History's +8. Perception's +9. Stealth is +13.
Next level, I get more expertise, so that'll be fun.
Oh, what spells do I want to learn?
Yeah, you have a way harder time than I do. Holy hell, you have access to some real fire now.
Want to know what languages I know now? Huh. It's a Draconic, Dwarvish, Elvish, Giant, Orc, Thieves' Cant, and Undercommon.
Nice, yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's literally been your experience. Good choice.
So what you're going to do is when we go back in the game, you'll hear Thalor say something to you in Dwarvish, and you'll look over like, what?
Didn't know you spoke my language. You've never spoken that before. What the hell?
I think next level for expertise, I'm going to pick history and religion. I don't know. I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think your character would be doing in its downtime? Like, how would its growth be happening? I suppose.
Well, he's a lore bard, so I don't like my fact that my history and my religion are so low.
Well, that's gonna fuck with him. Sorry.
Carry on.
Tack has a growth spurt overnight.
What?
Growth spurt. Oh, you're playing a rune knight.
I am playing a rune knight.
What is that?
Oh,
Okay.
it's a wonder. It's a type of fighter, and you can inscribe runes on your gear that gives you certain abilities, and you can also use these abilities from time to time on other people.
Gotcha.
One of the things that you get at 10th level is Great Stature. You roll a 3d4, and you grow that number of inches in height equal to the roll.
How tall are you now?
I am now 7'1".
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
Big
And
ass
Giant's
guy.
Might now actually deals an extra 1d8. So
He's as big as I'm saying I plumb forgot your other character's name now. I feel horrible.
Des.
Des.
Yeah.
Des is about that tall,
Yeah,
wasn't
getting
he?
close.
Yeah, Des was big.
Yeah, and TAC. I just wanted to let you know, I noticed at the break that TAC has been given advantage by the chat. So
thank you guys.
you have advantage in addition to everything else. All right, so
Just saw the message. I approve, Com.
I while I had my headset off, I had the speakers on, so I was listening to a little bit of the conversation. It sounds like some of you guys have made some progress. Let me just go around go across the screen, or go down the list, I should say, on the Discord, and check with everybody, see where we are in terms of updates and what questions people have. Heather,
Yes.
You are first on my list. So, how
Okay.
are you doing with your 10th level?
I am
level up?
pretty close to being done. All I've got to do is add the Storm Rune now, and just make notes of, that it's extra, the magic portion as well as the bonus action side of it. So,
Okay.
which
Do
is
you
just
know
two
what
more
your
increases.
Do you know what your new hit point total is?
No, not yet. So I apologize.
Okay. All right. When you know what your hit point total is, and if your armor class has changed due to any changes in dexterity, I'll check back with you in a little bit.
Actually, no
to make
change
sure we
to
have that up.
dexterity. So,
So it'd probably be just.
and
Remember the way we do hit points is it's the half of your hit dice plus 1 plus your Constitution bonus. So your D10 hit dice as a fighter. So
Yep.
you would get 6 plus whatever your con bonus is. So do you know what that would be?
yes, con bonus would be a 4, so that would be an extra 10.
Okay,
that
so
would put
by
me
my
at
count, 104.
Yep.
Okay. And your armor class is still 16, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I'm updating your tokens while I'm going through
Gracias.
this to make
Okay.
sure. All right. Next on my list is James Mulek. So Mulek, how is Mulek doing with the level up?
Question
James,
for you.
are you-
Yeah. Questions. How do you handle animate objects?
Animate objects, these as in the spell.
Yeah, like say I animate 10 objects and they're flying around and doing crazy stuff. Would that?
Let's take a look at it. Well, okay. Choose up to 10 non-magical objects within range that are not being worn or carried. Medium. Now you have to make sure you are following these rules. Medium targets count as 2 objects. Large is 4. Huge is 8. So you can animate, I guess, up to 10 small objects.
Correct.
Either tiny or small, up to 10 objects. It becomes a creature under your control until the spell ends or until reduced to 0 hit points. So there is actually a table here in the spell that tells us the hit points, the AC, its strength rating, its dex rating, what its attack bonus is, all that kind of stuff. So I pretty much follow that. Is there something in particular you?
No, I was just I was just wondering if that would cause. I'm not sure if I'm going to take it or not, but I was just wondering if that would cause too much confusion and chaos during fights. That I've got to like, if I have 10 things that I've got flying around and they all have their own hit points, and
I would probably have you, for purposes of their attacks, I would probably have you treat them like a swarm. So it's like they could kind of attack as a unit in a general area. You could say it's these objects occupy a sphere of, or a disc of like 20 feet or 30 feet in diameter. And so if you go attack something, if there's a couple of enemies in that radius, fine, go attack them. But I would be, it would get a little bit unweighty if you had each of them attack a separate enemy.
And would I roll 10 times, or would I roll 1 and they all hit or they all miss?
No, I think you'd roll 10 times. But
okay.
if you have that. If you have that,
like build a macro or something.
Build a macro or something,
okay.
And then you can just spam that macro to roll. Now, of course, we all know roll 20 sometimes is slow in responding on stuff like that. So that would be, we just have to put up with that.
All right. Other than that, I'm still working through on updating my guy.
Okay. Do you know what your new hit points are going to be, and if your AC is going to change?
It will be not yet. I'll have that in a minute.
Okay. All right. So let me go to the next person. Ken, or Falliger. How are we doing with leveling up Falliger?
Oh, I'm just trying to pick out a 5th level spell.
Okay. So do you know yet what his new hit points are going to be?
93.
93. And his AC is still 21 at this point?
I'm assuming so. I'm still in the character thing, so.
Okay. All right. So we have that. I'll then probably go back and double check with everybody.
I think his AC is 22, but I'll have to double check.
Okay. Michael, for Thaldor, do we know what his AC is going to be? And his
AC is 18. Hit points is 73.
Okay.
And I took the linguist feat.
Ooh.
So I now know Dwarvish, Giant, and Orc.
Okay, so 73 hit points and 18 AC. All right. Excellent. And then let's see, last but not least, Paul for Krenraid.
I have 113 HP on the level up and 20 AC. Hasn't changed.
Okay, 113 and same AC. Wonderful. All right, cool. And then while I'm thinking about it, let me do this. Leveling up to 10th level for Thursday during the week. Go ahead and update Bell, and will and let me know if you have any questions.
I was going to say it was one hell of a feast.
Okay. Yeah, it was a feast, but it's also kind of this is a milestone campaign. Most of the 5e campaigns that they've published are milestone campaigns. So Rescuing King Hekaton represents the end of a milestone, and thus gaining a level after that is accomplished. So,
I'm happy with that.
yeah, it's very cool. All right. Does anybody have any questions that we need to focus on before we go and look at new content, or can we move along while you are finishing up any updates to your character?
Luckily, unlike our fellow spellcasters, I have a really easy time of it, so I'm good to
Okay. I'm good.
I love playing dumbass martial characters that only have one thing to do.
Okay, we're not hearing any urgent questions. We'll go ahead and we will move along. Okay. The next day, next morning comes along, and you are invited to a breakfast. It's not nearly so formal, but the food is just as good. And you notice that Princess Sarissa and King Hekaton are not at the breakfast. Imperator Uthor is there, along with some of the other giant lords that were with you in the fight on Morkoth, and they are they kind of take they sort of raise their mugs to you, and Imperator Uthor says, later this morning, the king will invite you back to the throne room, and he will see that you are given a reward, that at least part of your reward for your help. Did you hear anything from Mordenkainen by chance?
Looks at Mulek.
I look at Mulek as well.
Sorry, sorry, my mind was elsewhere.
Understandable.
Yes, Mordenkainen got back to me. He said, "This is the next day."
Yes, this is the next morning.
Oh shoot! I wanted to do something the night before. Okay. Can I? Well,
I don't see why you can't do something.
Yeah, I want to back up. Just out of character. I wanted to ask Falliger if he had how many uses of his helm of teleportation did he have?
Well,
I think you had. Well, no. If the previous day, how many would you have had left? Because I think
we only teleported there, so I get 2 left, right?
I think so. Yeah. So I would have asked Falliger if we could make a quick trip back to the Cloud Castle to pick up IG.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
And bring him back.
Oh, okay. So now, as of this morning, you guys would have him at the at Maelstrom.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so in that case, boom. All right. Yeah.
So I reached out to Mordenkainen, and he said that he would contact you sometime today with his plans.
And King Hekaton says, yes, that's about what I expected. Okay. A shame that he apparently considers you an ally and me an ally, but he gives each of us our own set of requests or instructions. That man has an ego. the size of a storm giant.
Oh, you're telling me.
And Uthor says, "All right, I will let my brother know. Meanwhile, I hope you slept well. The accommodations were to your satisfaction."
Yes, thank you.
Good.
They were very nice.
And Tack comes kind of walking out, looking like he's wearing high water pants. And he kind of grumbles. He's like, all right, which one of you did this? Which one of you put my clothes in the hot water?
None of us. We've been here the whole time.
Now.
Is this the next day?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were too busy getting drunk.
Yeah. We wouldn't play that kind of prank on you. You'll find out what pranks we play later.
And he kind of
wink
looks
it.
down at his pant legs and goes, well, I'm glad I can stuff them in my boots because I look like I'm getting ready for a flood.
You look like you gained a few inches. Were you taller?
Yeah, I could have sworn you weren't that big. I'm looking very upwards at him now. You remind me of somebody I used to know.
He kind of like pats himself on the head like, I guess. I don't know why.
You look around, Tack, and you realize that the people that were at eye level with you, you're now looking down at them a little bit.
Yeah, with 9 inches.
Yeah,
Be like,
and
you guys got smaller.
Nobody. You got bigger.
yeah.
I'm measuring myself with the maul. No, you definitely got bigger.
Well, I'll be damned. That's a new one on me. Must be something in the water.
The
What?
combination of alcohol you drank last night clearly agreed with your body, right? And it just went you grew up.
Well, that's one way of putting it. So yeah, this is new.
We might be able to
now
get
I need
some
new
new
clothes.
I was about to say that. We could probably find you some clothes.
And then
Hey.
Imperator Uthor looks over at Tack and says, "I don't know. You look about the same height to me."
And Jack
Jesus.
kind of laughs jovially and goes, well, most small folk all look about the same size to you, I think, unless they be wee.
And he says, "Yes, well, that is to say, but you say you gained a few inches. I wonder if one of my brother's liege lords was having a bit of fun with you last night."
How so?
Well, best I not say more.
Oh.
I don't want to ruin my brother's surprise.
Well, all right then. Be that way.
And he gives the rest of you a little wink. And then he says, "Well, I just wanted to check in on you. I must go and talk to my brother and my niece, see what they have decided, if anything yet, about the other daughters. We will come. We will send for you when it is time for you to meet in the throne room." And just as he is getting up from the table, 2 messengers come running in. And they are storm giants, and they go and they whisper something in Imperator Uthor's ear.
Can I
And
see
Uthor-
if I hear what they say?
Sure. Make a perception check.
17.
Yeah, they're giants, so their whisper carries. You hear them say in giant that the king would request that Imperator Uthor bring you with him to the throne room.
10-4. I got you. I just look at everybody else. They don't know I can speak giant yet, so I just keep that to myself.
Okay. All right. So he then relays that to everybody. He says, my brother is sending for all of us. Apparently, he is receiving a message and wants us to all hear this. So, I guess we had better go. And so you.
Before we leave, I look over at Krenraid and I say in Dwarvish, I say, "Brothers for life," right?
Yeah, brothers for life. Wait, what? Since when did you speak Dwarvish? Your accent's a bit rough, but
I've been learning in my spare time. You know, I found some books in the library of the Countess, and just been learning some languages in my own time.
oh mate, I could teach you so many really great drinking and fighting songs in Dwarvish. They sound so much better.
Sure, we'll do that when we have some downtime. Not a problem.
Okay, so you all get brought back in here to the throne room, and when you do, you see a that same kind of holographic projection of Mordenkainen.
That again?
Sort of standing right up at the edge of this pool here, sort of bobbing in front of King Hekaton. And
I whispered to Mulek real quick. He's showing off again.
Yeah, and King Hekaton, is sitting up a little bit straighter. And Imperator Uthor goes over, and he just kind of gives you all a look, and he sort of rolls his eyes. And Sarissa is sitting there with kind of a little half smile on her face, looking at Mordenkainen. And
meanwhile, Tak leans over to one of his newfound friends and goes, "Who's that?"
Mordenkainen. Oh wait, I say that in Orcish. Mordenkainen.
And Tak kind of pulls his head back, gives you a look, raises an eyebrow, and goes, "I know how to speak the language. I don't like to."
Fair, and I say that in common. Fair, but I just wanted to let you know who that was.
Oh.
You said he's a holographic projector. Is this the second time we've seen this?
He kind of tilts his head a little bit as he looks at Mordenkainen, and then leans down and goes, "He's a bit of a pompous jackass."
I grabbed
you got your like this,
shoulder.
Tak. Hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You were like this. I'm going to try and sneak up behind Mordenkainen and put my Maul's shaft up his ass like he's got to stick up his ass.
Oh my god! I look over at Tak as he's trying to do this, and I'm going to just watch. Just watch.
Okay.
Yes, I agree.
Make a stealth check. Make a stealth check, Krenraid.
Very happily, and with disadvantage, may I add.
Why, are you wearing plate?
Half plate.
17 is not bad.
It's not bad.
You get about 10 feet away from Mordenkainen, and well, actually, hang on a second. No. Okay, you actually get all the way up to Mordenkainen. And Sarissa is giving you a look like she's not sure what you're doing.
Thumbs up.
And
good God.
And she kind of does. And King Hekaton, he notices you as well. His eyes cut towards you, and he just sort of raises an eyebrow at you. And meanwhile, King King Mordenkainen. Mordenkainen says, "Oh, hey, King Hekaton. It's so good to see you. So glad that my associates could rescue you. Now, I'm wondering if you can give the Circle of Eight some help."
While he's talking about this, I'm slowly but surely trying to reach the maul forward, so it looks like there's a stick coming out of his bum.
And Imperator Uthor, he's now noticed Krenraid, and he's trying to keep a straight face, but he's sort of starting to there's a kind of a grin at the corners of his mouth, and clearly he's starting, and you guys start to hear chuckles from some of the giants in the back of the room, that they're clearly seeing what's going on, and but it's quiet chuckles for giants. And King Hekaton says, "Yes, Mordenkainen. I thought there might be a price for this rescue. I do want to let you know I have some very urgent business on my hands regarding my throne. My seat is not yet secured. Something has been stolen from my hall, and it needs to be returned." And King Hekaton says, "Oh, really? Oh, what was that?" And he goes and explains about the scepter and everything, and Mordenkainen says, "Oh, that's wonderful. That's exactly fits in with our plans. Well, we were going to ask if you and the giants might be able to do something about disrupting the plans of the Cult of the Dragon. I think if you go after Imrith and you try to recover this item that she's stolen, that probably will do something to upset their plans, and maybe you can learn more about what they're up to. Now, I've sent those small folk, and they're good for some things, but sometimes they just may not be powerful enough to do all of the tasks that I have set before them, and they might need a little help. So if you could see that they don't get completely smushed, or at least if they do get smushed, the job still gets done, that would be wonderful." And King Hekaton says, "The adventurers you sent are very capable." And now he's sort of seeing what Krenraid is doing. And he says, "And they're very creative as well." And
Krenraid can't hold it anymore. He laughs his ass off and runs away.
And now there's some guffaws from the giants in the hall, and Mordenkainen sort of looks around and sees Krenraid running away, and says, "What the devil are you doing?" And he looks around and he sees a bunch of the giants just sort of laughing and looking in his direction and everything, and then he kind of turns his bushy eyebrows towards Krenraid, and he sort of squints a little bit, and he says, "Foolish dwarf. If I find out..."
Foolish dwarf. No. You're an ass.
And he turns and he says, "A half-orc? How dare you speak to me that way?
Speak to anybody I like that way.
Do you know who you're addressing?"
Supposedly you're a Mordenkainen, but you're sure an ass.
"Well, I never.
Maybe you should have the head of an ass instead.
And he.
Do you two know each other?
No, but I call it like I see it.
And then
he's a good guy.
He's a lot full of himself.
Well, we knew that. Mordenkainen, what else do you need?
Well, I think that if you help King Hekaton with the matter of retrieving the scepter that was stolen, that would be a good start. By the way, have you had a chance to tell him about the success that you all had on Linar Mall between forging an alliance between the metallic dragons and the giants? And there is this collective what from the entire hall, and he says, "Oh, I see you neglected to tell him that, King Hekaton. Not to worry, you all have additional allies in this fight against the Cult of the Dragon. My associates, at my direction and under the auspices of my wisdom, they have reached out and they have begun to forge an alliance between the metallic dragons and some of the cloud giants. So you would do well to listen to anything that they have to say, and if you think that metallic dragons can be good in the assistance of your endeavors against Imrith and the Cult of the Dragon, that would probably be a good idea."
I look at Mulek real quick and I whisper in his ear. I was like, "If we ever see him in person again, remind me to punch him as hard in the face as I can."
Yeah, that actually worked out in our benefit.
And King Hekaton says, "If you had not lent your name to so much powerful magic, I would..." And he reaches down beside him and grabs a plate, and he just sort of throws the plate right through the apparition of Mordenkainen and says, "That is not the way to bring up some kind of alliance, not when we are about ready to mount a war against a blue dragon." And Mordenkainen says, "Oh, of course you're going to go to war against a blue dragon. The blue dragons, the greens, the reds, the whites, the blacks, they're all a bunch of bastards."
The chromatic. I correct
The chromatic dragons. They yes, I know, but not everybody knows Thaldor. And
He's right, I didn't know, sorry.
And Princess Sarissa, she just sort of sits up a little bit, like she thinks that maybe she was just insulted a little bit, and that perhaps her father was just insulted a little bit. And now she's got a sort of a different look on her face as she's gazing at Mordenkainen. And Imperator Uthor, he's now got his hand on his hand balled up into a chin, one elbow on the arm of his chair, his chin resting on his fist, and he's just sort of glaring through squinted eyes at Mordenkainen's apparition. And there's kind of some murmurs in the murmurs from the giants as somebody is translating all this into giant for them. And Krenraid, as you look over to Count Thullen, he looks like he would rather be anywhere else than in this hall right now, and he's just looking very anxious. And so Mordenkainen,
Go on. Sorry.
Mordenkainen continues just kind of going on and on. So, what do you want to say to Count Thullen?
I was like, oh, Count Thullen, there you are, you know. I wanted to ask you some questions about the kids, you know. Do you want to talk over there?
And he says, I trust they are well. Oh, I'm going to get it. So the rest of you hear Mordenkainen just basically, he's kind of, he's just sort of trying to tell King Hekaton how wonderful it will be for his people to have an alliance with the metallic dragons, and King Hekaton is just glaring at him. And after a couple of minutes, he says, "Oh, yes, all right, Your Majesty. I'm sorry, but there are important matters that I must attend to. So it's been wonderful talking to you, friends. Once again, good job getting him back to his hall, and I'm sure that you and the king and his allies can take care of this problem with Imrith. Let me know if there's. Let me know your progress."
I was about to say, Mordenkainen put on his serious voice, didn't he?
Fellas, he speaks up. He's like, "Don't you worry, Mordenkainen. The cowboys from Helm will take care of it."
You're only going
He looks over at you. Cowboys from Helm. Cowboys from Helm?
No.
I don't think I know them. And then he says, yes, Luke, I'll be there. And he says, all right, goodbye. Good luck. And
Underwhelming, isn't
I like
it?
him.
Tell them, kill the kids, Belle says hi, and the kitty cat will come play with him soon.
and the apparition of Mordenkainen evaporates, and then standing right across the big pool from the throne is Count Thullen, who is the only one of the giants who is not just sort of glaring at the spot that Mordenkainen was standing, but instead he's just sort of standing there trying to be as small as he possibly can be and just sort of looking down at the floor. And King Hekaton says, Count Thullen, please approach the throne.
I know what that sounds like.
And the Count looks up and he looks at all of you, and he just sort of straightens his leather jerkin as much as he can, and he very stiffly walks forward. He comes around and he approaches the throne, and he sort of kneels down. And he says, yes, my liege. And King Hekaton says, what is this that I heard about from Mordenkainen? With metallic dragons? And Count Thullen says, well, it all started with my sister. And then he goes and tells how his sister captured and tortured a metallic dragon, and Mordenkainen had sent these adventurers while the dragon was still captive.
Fellas, you're talked him into doing an alliance.
Yeah, and that well, he doesn't put you specifically on the hook. He kind of spreads the blame to all of your group. And he says, the small folk, they helped the dragon. Well, my sister was mad. I mean, of course, Your Majesty, you know you would be mad to capture and torture a dragon for no good reason. And especially her reasoning was disloyalty to your throne. She thought that the Cloud Giants might be able to be at the top of the ordning with your throne in peril. In a way, the metallic dragon and the humanoids, they punished her for
Treason.
a rebel.
In Giant, I was about to say, in Giant, Thador pipes up and says, she was committing treason.
And he looks over at you, and Count Thullen nods vigorously. Yes, she was committing treason. And nearly everyone on the castle followed my sister. They were all of her mind, except for me and her children. I thought we were dead as well. Myself and my niece and my nephew. But when the humanoids learned there were but toddlers on the castle, they convinced the dragon to stop attacking. And, well, they mediated an alliance between us. And King Hekaton says, if I had not seen what these small folk were capable of doing, and I had not heard from my own storm giant kin about their bravery in coming here and wanting to find me, I would think that you were mad. But tell me true. And he looks at Falager. He says, does he speak the truth?
I believe that he's pretty honest with you, Your Majesty.
So, and then he looks at the other giants. He says, some of you were on the castle. None of you told me about these metallic dragons. And they all look at each other and they say, oh, we saw none, my lord. We saw none. And so there were not the 6 humanoids on the castle. There were 10 of them, and 4 of them did not come to the ship. They stayed to man the spyglasses, and I don't rightly know what they would have been able to do, but they stayed with the castle. And then King Hekaton says, I hear tell that some of the metallics have the ability to change their form. And Princess Sarissa says, well, if you remember, Imrith walked among us as a storm giant. And then he looks at Count Thullen and says, tell me truly, are there dragons on your castle even now? And Count Thullen, he hesitates a beat, but then he nods. He says, yes, my lord. 4 metallics. Actually, 3 metallics and a gemstone dragon. by my count, 2 bronze, 1 copper, and a moonstone dragon. And the king says, Master Dwarf, Master Wizard, do you think these dragons would battle beside giants against one of their own kind, against Imrith?
Oh, 100%. They hate that girl. They hate her more than we do. I don't know what happened between them. Like, maybe it's a family spat. I don't really rightly know how Dragon Society works, to be honest. But they seemed like decent people. Yeah, decent people. And they had a lot of anger towards that lady.
And he says, this is one reason why I find it hard to trust dragons. If I have a problem with hill giants, I will call on the hill giant thanes, and then call on the fire giant lords and the frost giant jarls, and we will all come together and we will discuss the problem as giants, and we will work this out. But dragons, the chromatic dragons, they hardly tolerate each other, but they will band together to fight against the metallics, and the metallics will fight against the chromatics. They are races divided. I don't understand it. Things I don't understand, I have a hard time trusting. But then again, up until a day ago, I would not trust any small folk as far as I could punt one. Which, to be honest, is a considerable distance, but still, I would not trust that. And yet, I am returned to my throne by the heroic actions of some small folk. Count Thullen, we must have a council. You and I must understand more of what has gone on. The rest of you. Oh, yes. Completely threw out of my mind. Humanoids. I have gifts for you. And he says, guards, bring the gifts from the treasury. And so they come out, and they will present you guys with a small chest, and then there is a 7th chest, and that is brought directly to King Hekaton. And the chest is sat down in front of each one of you, and it's a very ornate chest that is carved from a piece of coral, and it's got bronze hinges and bronze straps around the chest, and there is a lock plate with a key in it, and the key looks like it is turned to the unlocked position at this point. And the king says, these are some gift chests that my wife liked to give to honored guests of the castle, or of Maelstrom. So please take these along with their contents with my blessing. And he says, you may open them.
So Tack reaches down and carefully opens up his.
Okay.
Very fancy looking chest, you know.
Aldor admires the chest, and he's going, well, it's already unlocked. I don't have to pick it. So, yeah, I guess I'll open it.
And it's got the key in the lock as well.
Right.
So as you open them, they each contain a vial with a liquid, and they contain platinum coins.
Ooh.
You each get 250 platinum coins.
Ooh.
200 and what?
250 platinum pieces. And you get a potion. And he will tell you, this is a pale white liquid. And it has a bit of the look of the sea in it. And King Hekaton says, these gifts are yours, whether you choose to join us in our fight or not. But I hope they will persuade you to help us. These are potions of giant size. When one of your kind drinks one of these potions, you will become the size of a storm giant for a day. It will increase your strength. It will increase your ability to sustain damage. And it will increase the distance at which you can strike your enemies. This will affect any armor you are wearing and any weapons you are wielding at the time you consume it.
What is it called again?
Potion of
It's
giant.
a potion of giant. No, it's a potion of giant size. I'll put that
It's
in.
a legendary item.
It's a hell of an item. He just gave
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, for 24 hours, you are a giant.
Oh, he just gives one. Okay.
For every person.
Each
Oh.
of us
Yeah,
got
one for each person. Yeah. And then the 250 platinum pieces.
It increases all of your, like, everything that's on you, it increases to the size of a giant. So, like, my crossbow would go giant size, my rapier, everything that's on my body would go giant size.
Yeah, I'm thinking that I'm going to rule that everything you are carrying does not apply to items inside extra-dimensional spaces.
Oh, no, I know. That was, no, I knew that.
Right. So
What? You're saying Piddlewick won't be a giant?
No.
Oh,
No.
man.
I mean,
Piddlewick will not become giant sized. And
What if we
since
feed him the potion?
he doesn't really have a digestive system, so if you pour the potion in him, he'll just get wet. And it won't affect IG. It also, very sadly, Mulek, will not affect the little puffballs from your bag of tricks.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
You throw those out, they're still going to be their normal size.
Yep.
So, yeah. But I'm going to say, like, if you have spare weapons and stuff like that in your portable hole or in your bag of holding or things like that, you won't have those either. Those will be their normal size. You won't pull them out and they'll be giant sized. So just the gear that you are wearing or carrying. So that is that. And then there is a smaller chest, and this smaller chest is made of worked silver.
And each one of us gets one of these?
Yeah. Each of you gets one potion of giant size and 250 PP. Alright, so that is
I look over at Fallinger and said, "You know what? This made up for the money I lost to you."
yeah. And then he says, "Now, to whom should I give this?" And he says, you may have to think about when and how you use this item. Just tell me, which of you has the most prowess in battle?
That depends on your definition of prowess.
Who would deal the most damage in a fight?
I look at Fallinger, I look at Krenraid. But then I look over at Tack, like I don't know much about Tack, but I would say, well, that's between Fallinger and Krenraid. Krenraid, your Majesty.
I mean, I hit things hard, but I would say that the person who could do the most in a series of events would probably be Mulek. Like, he does some finger wagging and stuff, and things just happen. I don't understand it, but it always works in the way.
He says, well then, if you are the one, Master Dwarf, that has the most prowess in melee, please step forward. I think this should go to you.
Oh. Okay.
He gives you this small chest. And this small chest does not have a lock on it, and it is quite a bit smaller than the coral treasure chest that you were given. It's maybe a foot long, maybe 6 inches wide, and about 5 inches tall. And it's got a slightly rounded top. And and it's just a hinge lid that opens.
Thank you very much. I've the 2 gifts in one day. These shiny coins I don't quite get, but yeah, this is great.
Do you open the chest?
Yes.
He's kind of looking at you expectantly.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was distracted by the look of the chest. Sorry. Yeah, I'll pop it open. Do I shake it first, or do I have to? No, I'll just open it.
Just open it, Krenraid.
You open it.
I've been spoiled. I don't know what to do.
The inside is lined with deep red velvet, both the top and the body of the chest. And inside is a molten silver shape. It is kind of curved, pointy at one end and wide at the other end. And it looks like, if it weren't for the fact that it was covered in silver, it looks about the shape and size of the claw of a very large dragon. And there is a rune that is inscribed in the silver. And he says, "Behold, this is the claw of the worm rune. With this rune, you will be much more effective in combat against a dragon. Master Dwarf, if you hold this claw in your hand and point it to a dragon within 30 feet, you may impose vulnerability against any type of damage you deal to that dragon. Also, while you carry this claw, you will have resistance to the damage of any dragon's breath weapon. And finally,
I saw that was dangerous.
And finally, if you use this claw to inscribe an area on the ground, it will create a mystical ward that will create a sphere that has a 100-foot radius. It requires 8 hours of work, and at the end, the claw will be destroyed. But in that place, any dragon will have disadvantage and will not be able to fly any higher or any faster than 10 feet.
Is that because, like, it feels a bit sick?
Yes. This will make it feel very sick.
We can help you with the inscribing. And I look over at Mulek. Me and Mulek can help you with the inscribing, Krenraid.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys. This is a lot of instructions. I'm not sure I'm going to remember all this.
I'll remember.
Okay, and this is Krenraid receives a Claw of the Worm rune. So that is a magic item. You look it up in D&D Beyond. It will give you all of the information there. Now, it does require attunement. So he says, the fact that you all have Draconic allies, or I suppose that we now potentially have Draconic allies, may make the use of this item. We may need to be careful about what circumstances it is used in. But if they hate this Imrith with anything approaching the passion that the people of my hall do, then I think this would be a fair trade-off. Plus, if you have to go toe-to-toe with a dragon, I would like to see you somewhat protected from its breath.
This is a mighty gift, and I thank you deeply. What you may not know, and the fates have dictated it so, is that my hold, the Hillcrest hold, was put to the torch by a black dragon. So I share a very deep hatred for that particular dragon. I don't have any problems with any other black dragons, just that one. But if this could help me avenge my people and put an end to his reign of terror and smark, then I thank you very deeply, and I will remember this.
And King Hekaton, he nods and he says, Yes. I hope you will be able to use it in our battle against Imrith, but if you want to hang on to it for the time that you take back your holdfast, I would approve. And let me just ask: do you speak to him in Giant, Krenraid?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also. I think I'm just going to add a little stipulation saying, yeah, you got to use what you got to stay alive in the moment. Like, if the whole Imrith situation's looking, like it could use this thingy majiggy, I'm going to have to ask those guys over there for a reminder about how it works, but it will be used to great effect.
And he says, good. Well, if you will join Count Thullen and myself, the rest of you, please, you may depart. And so and by you he means the party, not just Krenraid. So as a point of clarification, so he will invite the others to depart, and they will do so. And let's see. Yep. Okay. All right. So then there's a bit of a meeting of the minds. He has Count Thullen go over blow by blow everything that happened on the castle, get you all to confirm. So you all spin out the story of what happened from the time you arrived to the castle, and he kind of fills in some of the details about what happened before you got there, how his sister found Felgalos and captured him, and the kinds of macabre displays that she had in the castle. And King Hekaton, he shakes his head, says, well, yes, it seems like your sister, the Countess, was a traitor. I am glad that you survived, and I may have to meet at least this Felgalos, speak with it. But I would want to have some of my guards present. Not sure I'm ready to meet multiple dragons at once, but we will see. And he said, "How did these small folk convince you of to make a treaty or make peace with this dragon?" And then I guess you all would remind him of what you said, the historical information that you remembered about times when giants and dragons had been allied in the face of a common enemy. And he seems to think on that, and he says, well, as long as they see the chromatic dragons as a common enemy, then I am willing to make at least a temporary alliance, but I do not think I will invite them to my halls. And I would not expect any of the liege lords or any of the lords that owe fealty to me to invite dragons to feast in their halls. And Count Thullen shakes his head and says, no, I would not expect that would go over very well. And then he says, well, now for the next part of our plan. You small folk, I think you have some tasks that you are going to work with the fire giants on. During this next 10-day, I am going to send out some scouts to seek for this Imrith. I have here in my throne room, and he points to the pool in the middle of the room. I have a pool of scrying here that I will seek out anything I can about this dragon, and I will send my spies to see if they can find where her lair is. Once we know that location, I will call you for a battle plan, and we will see if any of your dragons might be worthy of joining us. In the meantime, I wonder, do you think that you could convince this Felgalos to come with you to my hall for a meeting? Or do you think you could alternately implore the other dragons to vacate the castle for a time so that I and some of my storm giant guards could come to the castle and meet with Felgalos there? And he looks at the party when he asks this question.
I'm sure that they wouldn't mind going for a little fly around while you guys have a conversation. I think that's, a fair compromise, considering you don't really know each other and your history's not very good.
He says,
I think it's probably better if you went to urban common ground, which would probably be the castle we were just in, The one that flies.
and he looks around the rest of you to see if you all have any other ideas.
No, that sounds fair. We can ask. I don't think that's unreasonable.
He says, very well. If you can take some time to go back to Count Thullen's castle, speak with this Felgalos, speak with the other dragons, tell them I would like to meet with Felgalos alone on the castle, and then return with the next use of your conch to tell me what they say. Meanwhile, any of you who wish can enjoy the hospitality of my hall, or if you all wish to return to the Count's castle, you can go with my blessings.
This has been a very productive morning. I can't wait till what the midday's like.
I'm also wondering when the fire giants progress them building the armor.
Well, that's gonna basically be you guys, in air quotes, finding the material for them, because again, they don't have the material. So as soon as you guys can get them the material, they can get started to work, and they will probably then tell you to relay to Falazur that, at least kind of every other day, they're going to want Falazur to come by and make sure that everything is fitting properly, as they work on different pieces of it. And
we haven't given them the material?
No, so
we can.
We will do so immediately after leaving here.
Yeah.
okay. All right. So yeah, you go find them. You talk to them. They say that they will use their conch today to go back to their hold and see if they can convince a couple of their fellow artisans to come with them. They leave the mithril here at Maelstrom. They don't take that with them. and they say that they will use King Hekaton's forge to do the work.
Oh,
So
what a
they'll
wonderful meld of different giants' techniques. I can't wait to see it, guys.
Yeah, they'll be working here, and they will, whether it's just the two of them or whether they can get two more people and get four of them. And so that can be started underway. So you can start to think that now there's a clock going that it's going to take 10 days at least, or probably 11 days from now, because they won't be able to start on it until they get back. Either when the two of them come back or if they can bring two more. And it'll be at least 10 days. Or at the worst, it would be double that, so 20 days to get that armor done.
Better than 6 months.
Yeah, much better than 6 months. All right. Let me come back and double check before we end our session with everybody to make sure that the leveling up has been accomplished. Mulek, did you, or James, did you get Mulek all leveled up?
Yeah. I'm still deciding on the spells, but yeah, his armor or his hit points are updated to 74.
Okay.
Armor class didn't change.
Okay. All right. And I don't know why this. I thought I had updated this. 73 for Thaldor, right?
Yes.
Okay. And 18 for the AC? Okay. All right. Anybody else? Did everybody else get their stuff upgraded? Falliger, did you figure out everything you needed to do?
Yep.
Okay. What's your? I think we said your hit points were going to be 93. Did you figure out what your AC is? Your current AC?
It's 22.
22. Okay, so that. All right. Okay, and then I sent an at message to Ivy to let her know that she can update Bell during the week.
Thank you.
So hopefully, when we next meet and she's able to join us, she will have that updated. All right. So the next thing that's going to happen, we're going to kind of, between now and next game, I want you guys to figure out if there's anything, since you have a few days as PCs, if there's anything you want to do. You've got some money. If you want to, narratively use the Helm of Teleportation to go places and buy anything like that you think might be helpful in fighting an blue dragon, that might be something to think about doing. And then when we get back next time, we're probably going to be able to figure out where this blue dragon is and the time it's going to take the King Hekaton and his allies to get there, as well as the time it would take the dragons to get there, and then figure out how you all would want to get there once they know where there is. So we'll do that, and then we can get on into dealing with Imrith. So be thinking about anything that you want before this next big encounter, when you're going to fight a big dragon.
Do you want us to send you in Discord what we want to do, or just tell you at the next the next game session?
It might be helpful to talk to each other through Discord about things that you want to do in case, like if you realize, oh, everybody wants to go to the same place to do something, then we can just handle that as a thing in game. Otherwise, if it's a simple matter of, well, I want to purchase this or I want to purchase that, then we can figure out what the cost is and just say that you've narratively done that. We'll kind of figure out how long it takes for Falliger's stuff to get done, and probably because of plot, it's going to take about as long for the giants to figure out where the blue dragon is as it will to get Falliger's armor done. So
perfect.
We'll talk about that, but that will be a nebulous amount of time that we don't need to spend doing a whole lot of other things. So that will be our next session. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us. We have reached the end of our session, and we are about ready to say goodbye to the year 2021. I was thinking the other day, I was looking at sort of year in review type of thing. I think we've done a total of something like 43 or 45 sessions of this game this year that we have had, and we started this year with you guys at, I think it was either 7th or 8th level when we started, because you were just getting ready to go to the Underdark, and you were just finishing up with some things in the Princes of the Apocalypse storyline. So you went to the Underdark, then you went to Innistrad, or not Innistrad, Barovia, and now you are back in Toril. Toril Prime, if you will. So back in the same plane as Waterdeep, and ready to see what is going on.
Been a hell of a journey and a wonderful year. Looking forward to the next one.
It has been a lot of fun, and I think there's some fun things coming up this next year. Going to be able to start the year off with a big battle against a dragon, and who knows by the end of next year what you all will be fighting.
I can't wait to find out.
and who knows what kind of groups of people you will be able to figure out to get to work together. I mean, if you can get giants and dragons to work together for common cause, then maybe there's more strange things that you can accomplish.
The world's a strange place,
Let the planar binding begin.
Wrong game.
All right, y'all. Players, thank you so much. Viewers, thank you as always for hanging out with us. We hope that you will join us next time. And I think we should be back into, obviously, the new year, more or less of a normal schedule. Is anybody traveling next Thursday that they know about would be unavailable to play next Thursday?
I am traveling, but I am available, so I'll be here.
I'll be here.
Okie-dokie. All right, well then, we'll plan to see you next year. Happy New Year, everybody. Be safe. Hope that the new year is kind to everyone, players and viewers alike. Hope that we will see some interesting new things in the new year. This
Hopefully
year
all
was
good.
hopefully all good. Yes. All right, everyone. I am going to turn the music up, and then I am going to see if we can find somebody else that is doing some D&D, and see if we can raid them.
Well, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Bye-bye.
See you next week, Goon.
Yep.
Watch
Yeah.
a movie this week.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife comes out on digital this week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
It was funny.
It's pretty good.
That's all I'm after. It's funny. That's all I want.
Don't watch the new Matrix.
It was okay, but really weird if you ain't seen the first 3 movies.
It was so bad.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and raise Squeeze God.
That's a nice name.
Yes. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. Take care. Good night. We'll talk to you later.
I'm a time traveler, so Happy New Year.
Yeah, it is New Year for you already, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's a